Russia has reportedly come knocking on Ankara's door, not to demand, but to buy back its own S-400 missile batteries sold to Turkey in 2019. Facing inventory shortages, battlefield losses, and rising global demand, Moscow may be forced to reclaim what it once exported. Is this a sign of panic, a calculated move, or something far more precarious? In 2017, Turkey signed a landmark $2.5 billion contract with Russia. By 2019, Ankara had received 4 S-400 divisions, complete with launchers, radars, and command vehicles. The purchase triggered immediate backlash from the United States, resulting in heavy sanctions and Turkey's exclusion from the F-35 stealth fighter program. Now, in September 2025, reports first published by Turkey Today claim that Moscow has approached Ankara with a surprising proposal: sell those S-400s back. According to Militarny, the reasoning is simple but serious. Russia has run dangerously low on spare units. Domestic production is strained, and external demand from countries like India remains unfulfilled. Turkey, meanwhile, has never fully activated its S-400 systems and is investing in its indigenous Steel Dome project, giving Ankara leverage at a critical geopolitical moment. The controversy surrounding the S-400 deal stretches back nearly a decade. Turkey, a NATO member, urgently needed long-range air defense after negotiations for American Patriots collapsed. Russia offered the S-400, advanced, relatively cheap, and available without restrictions. But Washington warned that deploying a Russian anti-aircraft system could compromise classified F-35 data through radar signature exposure. When Turkey went ahead with delivery in 2019, the punishment was swift: expulsion from the F-35 program and penalties under CAATSA sanctions. Since then, as noted by Jane's Defense Weekly, Turkey has kept the S-400 largely in storage, conducting only limited tests and no integration into NATO's defense network. Meanwhile, Russia's war in Ukraine has drained its resources. Bellingcat's analysis of satellite imagery, combined with combat videos released on YouTube by Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, shows numerous destroyed Pantsir, S-300, and even S-400 units across the battlefield. Each loss is significant. These systems are not easily replaced. With Western sanctions choking supply chains and microchips in short supply, even Russia's powerful Almaz anti-design bureau is struggling to keep pace. The S-400, known in Russia as Triumph, is one of the most sophisticated air defense systems in the world. It can track up to 80 targets simultaneously and engage fighter jets, drones, cruise missiles, and some classes of ballistic missiles. Its 40N6 missile can reach 400 kilometers, the 48-6 250 kilometers, and the 9M96 family covers shorter ranges. The system relies on phased-array radars like the 91N6E Big Bird and the 92N6 Great Stone Fire Control Radar, combined with multiple transporter erector launcher vehicles. Yet, according to defense analysts interviewed by Defense News, Turkey's batteries remain mostly idle, partly due to political hesitancy, partly due to reliance on Russian support for maintenance. NATO allies also refused to integrate the system into the broader alliance grid. On the Russian side, shortages are acute. India's contract for 5 regiments is already behind schedule, with only partial deliveries completed. The final shipments, according to the Hindu and James, may slip to 2027. Moscow's alleged request to Turkey therefore reflects both desperation and pragmatism. Missile shelf life is another critical factor. anti-aircraft missiles degrade over time. Their solid fuel boosters, onboard electronics, and guidance components require constant servicing. Reports in Turkish defense media note that some of Ankara's missiles are already half past shelf life, meaning they would need refurbishment before being combat ready. For Turkey, selling them back could be smarter than investing millions in maintenance. What would this mean strategically? For Russia, reacquiring S-400s would provide a fast boost to defenses in Crimea, Kaliningrad, or around Moscow itself. It avoids costly new production and buys time for industry to catch up. For Turkey, however, the risks are political. Returning the systems could anger nationalist factions at home or be seen as bowing to US and NATO pressure. Yet, it might also unlock major rewards, easing sanctions, renewing US arms sales, and even reopening discussions about advanced jets such as the F-16 Block 70 or a conditional F-35 partnership. Predictions vary widely. Military commentators on the War Zone channel and analysts quoted by Global Conflict Monitor suggest Moscow may offer billions in cash or favorable trade deals. Others, however, argue that Ankara will hold out, using the request as leverage in negotiations with Washington and Brussels. The United States is watching closely. If Turkey sells back the S-400s, Washington can claim a diplomatic victory. NATO would see one of its members shedding Russian hardware, symbolically aligning with the West again. But if Turkey appears to profit too openly from Moscow's desperation, it may spark friction within the alliance. Meanwhile, India remains a silent but significant stakeholder, since any diversion of Turkish systems back to Russia could further delay its own deliveries. This episode illustrates a global arms crunch. Russia, once a top exporter of advanced weapons, is now reportedly forced to recover systems it had sold abroad. Archival footage from TASS and RT once showed endless rows of S-400s paraded through Red Square. But now, shaky drone videos uploaded to Telegram channels revealed the charred remains of similar systems destroyed in Ukrainian fields. For NATO, the implications are serious. If Russia gets the systems back, Ukraine's skies will grow even more dangerous. Western pilots and planners will face tighter defensive perimeters, forcing new strategies for electronic warfare and standoff strikes. If Turkey resists, however, Russia remains stretched thin, forced to prioritize defenses and ration its limited arsenal. At its heart, this is not just about hardware, it's about influence. Turkey, straddling East and West, is once again the pivot point. As Al Jazeera recently noted, Ankara's decision will echo not just in Washington and Moscow, but in New Delhi, Kiev, and Brussels. Russia is not yet defeated, but a country once proud to export weapons is now quietly trying to claw them back. That looks less like confidence and more like survival. So, is Russia panicking? Perhaps not outright panic, but undeniably a crisis. What do you think? Will Ankara hand back the S-400s, cashing in on Russia's need while repairing bridges with NATO? Or will Washington's pressure be too strong, forcing Turkey to hold its ground? Leave your thoughts below. Subscribe, ring the bell, and stay with us, because this story is far from over. The tension is only just heating up.